following podcast is brought to you exclusively by the Rad Rob Radio Network. Imagine a place where mental health, resilience, sports, and the power to never give up all come together. This show is about life. It's about mental health. It's about bouncing back stronger than ever. This is Reset and Rise to the Unbreakable with Amanda Moore.
Hey guys, welcome back to Reset and Rise to the Unbreakable with Amanda Moore. I am your host, Rad Rob Francois. This is episode number 31. We have a very special guest, but before we bring him in, I would like to introduce you to the one and only, the reason why you're all here. Still got nothing. I still don't have that intro worked up for you, but I'm working on it. It is This is why I suck. This literally is why I'm trying to do something different on this show. Hello, Amanda.
I'm dying. Hello. I'm just sitting here waiting. Like, come on, you got it. Let's get it together. You'll get it one of these days. It's all right. We can't all be fabulous the first time around.
I never have been. So,
oh man,
I'm excited for this week's guest.
Me too. We have some really good guests coming up. Yeah, I'm excited. Todd is an amazing person. I happen to be on staff with Bowlifi, and then I was moved to platinum level, and I stepped down from being on staff with Bowlifi this past year because I just couldn't do it. And at the abilities that I'm bowling right now, I don't feel like I deserve to be on staff with anybody. So I took myself off staff with everybody but Genesis, but Bowlifi I was very dedicated to when I was doing it at the time, and I loved it. I love that I could customize jerseys. That closet behind me right there has like 30 jerseys in it, if not more, that are all Bowlifi. And Todd he's always been a super humble person, but he was great to work with, him and Jackie Vasquez and Ryan Simonelli when he was with Bowlifi, and Tim Warner, and Steve Fairchild definitely has some great things going with Bowlifi. So of all the jersey companies out there, Bowlifi is definitely one that I always will have a big spot in my heart for. So tonight's guest, though, Todd McGill, if you don't know him, he is someone who truly embodies what this show is all about, what it means to fail, rebuild, and come back stronger, not just in bowling, but in life. Todd, if you don't know him, he's a tournament director, a bowling promoter, a Hall of Fame inductee, a national sales manager for Bowlifi, and someone who's spent decades giving back to the sport that helped save him. But what makes his story, when I read his bio, what makes his story so powerful is this. Behind the scene, the success, the awards, the scenes, and the legacy, he's also been very open about battling anxiety, depression, and the hardest seasons of his life and how he fought his way back. I definitely have dealt with anxiety my entire life. I have bouts of depression. Most recently, I've been dealing with a little bit of that myself, and I think we all do. The seasonal affective depressive disorder is a real thing. So I cannot wait for spring, more sunshine, because we had like 3 weeks solid of this inversion that just made it doom and gloom for, I swear it was 3 weeks solid. We didn't see the sun, and it sucked. It really sucked. Mm-hmm. So if you've ever lost yourself, lost your purpose, or felt like your second home was ripped away from you, this episode is going to hit you right in the heart, because Todd is embodying all of that, and it's still plugging along. He is probably one of the most inspirational people I know. And I messaged him the other day saying, when I read his bio, I sent him a sad, teary face, and I said, I can't wait to have you on the show, because after reading his bio, I know even more about him now. And if you know Todd, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't know Todd, you will learn to love him after this episode. So if you want to, without further ado, we'll bring tonight's guest in, Todd McGill.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the one and only Mr. Todd McGill. Todd, good evening, sir. Thanks for being here, bro.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. Amanda, you just gave me chills talking about this guy that's going to be on the show tonight. I cannot wait to hear it.
Yeah. I'd like to have all variety of different people on this platform. We've had veterans, we've had business entrepreneurs, we've had bowlers, and then we've had, just everyday people that are fighting sobriety or what have you. So it is awesome when I can bring somebody in like you that um, embodies what the show is about, but also as a bowler, so I can hit on those topics with you. I think my favorite part about having anybody that has to do with bowling on this platform, whether they're a pro athlete or whether they're part of the business or they're part of just bowling in some way, shape, or form, whether it be with the Lanes or part of USBC or whoever it is, that we all don't realize the amount of depression, anxiety, or mental health illness that does go around and filtrate through the athletic scene. So that's why I really wanted to reach out to you. I think the first time I ever opened up about anxiety on social media, Todd, you were probably one of the first people to reach out to me, and you were very humble about it. So
I try to be. It's,
Yeah, you are. So let's start where every good story starts.
Sure.
The beginning, because bowling wasn't just something you did; it was something you grew up with. What's your very first memory of being in a bowling center?
I mean, when I was just a young guy, I have a twin brother, and him and I would be tagging along with Dad and my older brother up to Colerain and over to Western Bowl when they bowled in their leagues, and bumming quarters so we can play video games and getting to know the people around there. And I mean, I never met a stranger when I was young. So I would talk to anybody, and I don't know. I guess I always thought I was shy when I got, into my teens and 20s. But when I say that around my parents, they're like, you were never shy. But just growing up around the atmosphere, growing up around and getting to meet, a lot of really cool people. But yeah, my first memories are definitely as a young guy, just going up and playing video games and watching Dad bowl and thinking that was the coolest thing ever to watch him bowl well. And even if he didn't bowl well, I didn't know any difference because I was like 5 or 6 years old.
Well, you grew up in Colerain Bowl. That
Yes.
felt like so what made Colerain Bowl feel like a second home to you?
Just because of that. I mean, that's where my dad bowled. I got to be very close with the owners of Colerain Bowl, and as well as some of the workers. I mean, Mickey Heeg was a mainstay. She worked for Colerain Bowl for 50 years,
Wow.
and she's the one that taught me how to bowl. Other than watching other folks, and Mickey is. I still talk to Mickey today, not as much as I'd like to, but life changes, and but we still are in contact on social media and send a random text every now and then. And she's, a lot of people at Colerain Bowl made me feel very welcome, even at a very young age.
Sounds like you're in a bowling center right now.
I am at work at Gilmore tonight. Yes.
Multitasking.
Yes.
All right. Well, when did bowling go from something you were around to something you loved?
So I played a lot of baseball when I was young, and I really thought baseball was something I wanted to do for a long time. And then as I got older, I didn't get a whole lot better at it, and the guys around me did. So I still enjoyed it. But I just decided it was time to start bowling a little bit. I was around 14 years old. And since I was around there a lot, everybody knew me, and I was able to get proper coaching right away with Mickey and my dad and my oldest brother, Tom. And I picked it up quickly. Most people will only tell you that I only picked it up that way because I'm left-handed. I still hear that today, but that's okay. My response always to that was, don't hate the player, hate the game.
The lefties always get it the worst, man. All the
no
comments
kidding.
in the peanut gallery, I tell you.
Oh yeah, but that it is what it is. I have fun with that now.
Yeah.
But I it's just something that I picked up only maybe because I was around it and watched it, and I was fairly athletic as a young guy, so it was kind of easy for me to understand what needed to happen. Math is a big part of bowling. So learning, where you're looking at in the lanes and where you need to find a break point, that was all something that came to me very easily.
Now, speaking of math, let's age you a little bit. Were you back in the day when you had to keep score on the score sheets by hand with pencil and paper?
100%. I used to travel around, and there was a local tournament called the King of TV Bowling, and that was really my first job, was traveling from center to center, and they all had those really hot plastic Telescore things. And with me being left-handed, I always burned the side of my left hand. But that was so much fun for me, and that's really where I first met some of the best bowlers in the city, just by keeping score for them.
Yeah, I remember growing up when I was younger, because I started bowling when I was 6, and there was still smoking allowed.
Yep.
There were cigarette trays like on the tables behind us bowlers as youth, and we had to learn how to keep score with pencil and paper and all that. And I'll be 43 next month, but I mean, we were still doing it back then. And then I remember when my parents would take us to the bowling alley on Fridays, and the whole bowling alley, you just open up the front doors and it's like, you automatically, it doesn't matter your age, you're getting a contact eye of cigarette smoke or something.
Oh yeah. You didn't have
Not
to
anymore.
be a smoker. You didn't have to be a smoker. As soon as you got home, you had to change your clothes immediately.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Ashtrays like at the Telescores, like literally at the scoring table. As you're
the ashtrays right on the edge of the tables. That's what people used to put on the bottom of their shoes when they were sticking, was the cigarette ashes.
Yep, that's right.
That's insane. Well, what was it about the competition that hooked you so deeply with bowling?
So like I said, I got fairly decent at a pretty quickly, and I think I had I wasn't 16 yet. And I had the front 9 bowling in an adult child league with a 14-pound beginner ball that wasn't even drilled fingertip yet. And it's like, okay, this is kind of fun. And I had my first look at 300 at a pretty young age. And then the travel league came to us, and I was able to start bowling the junior travel league. I mean, I bowled my leagues at Colerain Bowl in the mornings. And then also at Northwest, I would go in the morning at one place and then go bowl in the afternoon for junior leagues at another place. The junior travel league was on Sunday.
What? Wait, okay. What? There's a story there. We'll talk about that later, I guess.
Yeah, that's my buddy Scott right there. He's
By the way, anybody in the chat, you're allowed to ask questions or hit the chat up with comments or whatever. If you know Todd, I know Todd, you had quite a few people that were going to listen in tonight. So
yeah, everybody but Scott is allowed to ask questions at this point after that.
Oh, Scott.
So when we started the youth, or when I got to be part of the youth travel league, there was 2 different ones. One was a handicap travel league. One was a scratch travel league. Mm-hmm. Well, the goal, obviously, for every young kid was to be part of that scratch travel league, because that was the better bowlers in the city. So I was part of the youth, or the handicap league, the first year. My brother and I, my twin and I, were both that, and I think that's where the competition came in. Is I have a twin, and again, we were both very competitive against each other, which, I mean, it was healthy. We didn't, beat each other up or anything, but he was also a very accomplished bowler very quickly. I mean, we literally would go straight from school and go over to the lanes and bowl 30 games before the league started, almost every day.
Wow.
And that's where we, just learned to
no
get
blisters
better.
On your fingers or anything?
Yeah, my thumb took a beating every now and then, but I usually learned that was because I was doing something wrong, and I was able to correct it. Usually with a pitch or not squeezing the ball, because that's, what people like to do is squeeze the ball a little bit, and that'll make your thumb explode after a little while. But then I got myself to the scratch league, and my brother and I both, and the team that we had, we won the league that year, and it was not even very close. I mean, our team was just far and above better than the rest, because I think we all gelled very well. And, and with Tim, is my twin's name, with the 2 of us on there, we just had a lot of fun, and we weren't afraid to bowl against anybody, but we had fun with them.
A lot of people are afraid of they're either afraid of having fun because they take it too serious, or they get to a certain level, they forget they forget to have fun because then they become too competitive when they get to reach a certain level. So
Yeah, you
it's
can't
very
forget
important. Like it's very important that you say that to continue to have fun.
Yeah, you can't forget it's a game
Yeah.
that we all enjoy, and we get to meet a lot of really, really great people throughout.
Yeah.
And you got to keep. I mean, you said that I try to stay humble, or I am humble, whatever. You got to remember that too, and
Yeah.
you can't let yourself get bigger than what you're doing, no matter what it is in life.
Well, I want to talk about something. So you weren't just bowling. You were dominating very, very early. You were the first youth bowler in Ohio to average over 200 for an entire season. What
Yes.
did that mean to you at the time, accomplishing
Um,
that?
it was pretty cool. There was actually two of us in the same league, and it was in that travel league. I was the first youth bowler to average over 200 in the travel league. We bowled in a different center for 20 weeks on Sunday mornings at 10 o'clock. Sometimes you drove an hour, and sometimes you were there. We were 15 minutes away, but when that was all said and done, and I wasn't sure that was really the thing, and we got to our banquet, and there was I finished at 204, and another young guy from across the river, his name was Brian Stith, he was 203, and we were the first two to do that ever in that league.
Wow.
And it I don't know, that when I just said don't get bigger than the game, I tried to not let that happen. That was my last year of high school, or not high school, but youth bowling. They didn't have high school bowling back then, which I wish they did, because that could have led to a lot bigger things and maybe college bowling or whatever. But I really didn't really have that opportunity at my age. So I went right into men's leagues, and that's where I kind of started getting a little cocky, thinking, oh, well, I was the best bowler in the youth leagues all, growing up and last year, and I'm going to be great when I get in the men's leagues. And you just go out and you're bowling against some guy that, just came from work and still wearing his work uniform, and smokes 13 packs of cigarettes while he's bowling, and he just beats the brakes off you, and you're like, okay, well, I guess I'm just one of the other guys. And once I learned that, then the adult side of bowling, kind of started taking place for me, and I started, understanding a little better. I'm just one of the guys. Let's just go out here and have a good time.
Did you ever think that you were special, or know that you were special, or did it take others pointing it out that you had something special?
I never took it that way. I never felt that way. It was the banquet when it was brought up, and it was a really cool feeling. I still have all of the standing sheets from back then at my parents' house. I have the final banquet paper at my parents' house. They helped me put together like a scrapbook of just things from back when I was young. And it also has a lot of things from when my dad was younger and his bowling days, all together in one scrapbook, which is something that's really special to me too.
That's awesome. What did bowling teach you as a teenager that carried into adulthood?
Goodness. I guess the camaraderie for any game, for any sport, that you are just another person, and you can't treat somebody differently just because you might think they're better than them, because there are several, and there's a lot of people out there that feel like if they're better than you, they're just not going to treat you the same. Mm-hmm. And I never really took that approach or ever felt that way. That comes very much from my parents. They are hopefully watching today. I sent them the link. Tom and Ronnie, they are two amazing people, and I mean, not just bowling, but they taught me, and they were amazing parents. They still are. They're 86 and 85 now, and I still look at my dad and think he's the strongest man walking the face of the earth. And I mean, everything that I wouldn't have played baseball or been able to bowl as much as I did or get to where I got to without them. I mean, they're the ones that were shuffling me all over town to bowl tournaments or wherever I might be going. And I became very good friends with a kid named Brian Himmler Not sure if anybody's heard that name, but
I've
I'm
heard
sure
that
somebody
name.
on the show has.
Yep, I have.
Brian Himmler won several times on the PBA, and he's got a pro shop here locally in town. And we were friends at a very young age, and I would spend the night at his house. He'd spend the night at our house nights before tournaments, and his parents would drive us somewhere one week, and the next week my parents were driving. And but just gaining good friendship with people and what that really means. And I mean, that's kind of what I really learned most from bowling, and where it needs to be in your life, no matter what. Treat everybody the same. You're not better than anybody else. I don't care if you have a pocket full of money or you don't. You're the same to me.
Yeah. Well, then you move into adult leagues, and the story just gets crazier with you, Todd.
It does.
You shot your first 300 and your first 800 on the same night.
Yep.
Take us back to that moment. What ball were you using, first of all? And then take us back to that moment that happened. What were you feeling and thinking at the time?
I was using a burgundy hammer and I was 18 years old, and it was actually at Northwest Lanes, and I had been close several times. I'd never shot 300 up until that day. Obviously, I had 299 twice within 4 days, just prior to that. One of them was a really good shot for 299. The other one was horrible. My first one, I went Brooklyn and left a 5-pin. So my oldest brother, Tom, likes to tease me if I've had a few other 299s, and he'll just message. He goes, "What'd you leave another 5-pin?" Just because that's what he does. He's my older brother, so he has to pick on me. So I knew I had a look at 800. I really was trying not to think about it too much. A very close friend of mine, his name's Gary Thomas. He'll be, he still bowls here at Gilmore.
Now, wait a second, Scott. If you're going to say your thing, you need to spell it right.
I didn't even realize that. Yeah, you're absolutely
right. Come on, man.
He's here bowling down at the end. He's here bowling down at the end.
Man, we got a that gallery over here. Jeez.
Yeah, way to go, Scott.
Yep, thanks, Scott. Appreciate
the Todd
it.
show, not the Scott show. Let's go.
Oh no, it's perfectly fine. I wouldn't expect any more or less from him.
From Scott, yeah, it's Scott. Anyways, continue on.
So I had the front 5 or 6, and Gary just decided he was going to park himself back behind my lanes, because I started realizing, okay, I can shoot 800 autocorrect. I knew I had a look at it, and I was throwing the ball well. I had a really good look that night, and he just sat there and talked to me. We talked about youth leagues. We talked about other friends. We made fun of other people looking around. We just people watching and whatever, just so I was not thinking about bowling an 800. And he literally talked me into my first 800 and my first 300. And we still talk about that all the time.
Well, you ended up with 9 perfect games and 9 800 series.
That's correct.
Did that ever feel normal to you? Like, did they get to a point that's just like it's another league night, or?
It never felt normal. It was always kind of special to be able to do that, no matter what night it was or where I was. I mean, the highest 800 I had was 848. Oof. And it didn't count towards back then the ABCs, because I was pre-bowling as a whole team, and the whole team was going to bowl nationals the following week. And I was then any pre-bowled scores didn't count, but the bowling center made a really nice plaque for me. They did some cool stuff for me. And I mean, I got a jacket. I mean, it was seen.
Well, what was it like being the night manager at Northwest Lanes while also competing?
You get to hear not only the left-handed thing as well. You put down the shot yourself, and you get to do this and you do that, and
wall up the left side.
Man.
Wall up the left side's walled up just for you.
Yeah.
Always got excuses.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it I mean, I just let it roll off because it was just people talking.
Yeah. What did you love most about working in the bowling centers?
People. I excel personally around people as long as it's not too many.
Yeah.
Now that I'm getting the older I get, the tougher it is to be around huge crowds, but bowling centers are the right size crowd for me. And just being around people, being able to talk to people, getting to learn different people and how to, I mean, you might have to like I said, I treat everybody the same, but you might know somebody who is a very sensitive person and you might have to talk to them a little differently than the guy that comes up and I just left another effing 10 pin and I can't make my effing spares. Well, you talk to them a little differently than you do to the person that's going to be a little sensitive.
Yeah.
And I learned how to read people, I guess, at that point. And and become a pretty good judge of character for people that, maybe I want that person to be a friend. Maybe I want to go talk to them, but maybe I do not.
Isn't everyone sensitive though nowadays?
Well, they are. That's a cool story, but
just saying. That's age.
We all know we live in a soft world at the moment, so
just saying.
That would be another show.
Another story for another day and another show.
Stir. That's all I do. That's my job.
Well, then I want to talk about life happening for you, Todd. This is where your story becomes way bigger than bowling. What made you decide to move to Florida?
So I worked for Wonder Bread for the longest time, delivering bread, which I know that's what you do.
I used to deliver bread. Now I deliver those nasty, spicy chips called Takis.
The Taki. Well, my daughter would love you because that's her favorite snack on the world.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
But I do know the bread world. I did do that for a couple years. So,
I did that for many years. And I did that after the bowling scene. I went and did that for a few years, and Scott's misspelling things again if his chat comes up.
The total?
Yeah, that's
you can't
another.
Dude, you can't blame that autocorrect. It's 2026.
Right.
That's
our smartphones are smarter than us.
100%. It's an inside joke right there.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
848. 848.
My first 800 was 803. My
803.
highest was
Your highest was 848. Okay.
Yes.
Anyways, continue on about why you moved to Florida.
Yeah, and the bread scene was, it was fun. It was okay. I went from staying up till 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, to waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning. It was a big lifestyle change for me. It took me away from bowling for the most part, and that's really when I was still around it. I would still like to bowl, but it was just totally different at that point. Spelled correctly, totally. Scott. And all of a sudden, one of the guys that I worked with for Wonder Bread, he had moved to Florida a few years prior, and he was working for a company called Cintas, which is a huge company.
Mm-hmm.
And they were looking for somebody to take over one of their divisions, which was a new division down there, and it was in Orlando. And we did a lot of work for Disney, and it was a very, very busy plant, and they were growing pretty quickly. And I had an opportunity. I was going through some struggles in a marriage that was going the other direction, and my wife at that time moved to Arizona. And I moved to Florida, and she went to Arizona. She actually is and still is a membership director for a country club, which is what she was doing here on the golf side of whatever. I think she's more on the event side now, but that's what she went out there to do. I went to Florida for the job at Cintas, and I don't want to say it was a horrible move. I still have some very dear friends down there, but
you did mention in your bio to me that you said you got into the wrong scenes.
I did.
What did that season look like for you?
So that season for me, I tried to stick around bowling and try to go. There was a bowling center, a little 12-lane center that was 5 minutes from my house, and I would just drive over there and watch. I wasn't bowling. I would watch some of the youth leagues, and there were some really good youth bowlers, and I was trying to watch them. I donate bowling balls, buy them, and donate them to the kids leagues, and try to do things that way. But I also learned that I like to drink a little bit, and not there, but mostly at home. And then I ran into some friends that that's really all they wanted to do. And I would come home from work and they would already be at my house because I was the single guy that had the patio that was screened in with a lake behind his house and a TV and a kegerator on the patio. And they'd already be right back there ready to party. And it turned into every night.
Perfect party pad, it sounds like.
It was the perfect party pad, but I got sucked into the life of being that guy. And literally I got myself in a bad way just from being around it, letting myself be pulled in by these friends. And again, not all of them. I still have a couple friends from down there I still talk to fairly regularly. Other ones I could care less if I spoke to them or not.
Well, even let's just back up a little bit. So you drinking wasn't caused by you being in a bowling center, but there are those people that they make the excuse that drinking makes me, I've heard it, I've seen it. Drinking makes me bowl better, or all my friends do it, or it's bowling night. And they literally, I think there's a shirt or something out there that says something about I'm here to drink, I'm here to drink for fun and bowl for whatever. I don't know. There's something, I'll find it and have to send it to you. But there's people that use bowling as an excuse to drink. And if somebody already has an issue with drinking, or we've had Nolan Worley on this show before that is working on his sobriety, and the bowling centers can be the worst for people if they have an underlying issue that they know is not a coping mechanism, such as drinking alcohol. The bowling centers can bring that out in someone. Was there a moment with you where you realized and you said to yourself, I'm not okay?
Yeah, it was before I came back home. I knew I wasn't okay down there, but I didn't know how to stop myself because I didn't have the right people around me to stop. My brothers and sisters and family, everybody was still here. Mom and dad were still here. And quite frankly, the folks down there, they didn't care to help me because they didn't want to help themselves. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have an off switch and I didn't know how to stop. And it wasn't to the point to where I took myself to meetings or seeked help for it at that point. I just tried to battle it myself, which I was able to do to a certain degree. And then I came back home. I just finally said, it's time. The gig at Cintas went away. Disney started doing a lot of different products on their own. So it took some stuff away from the plant. It softened what we were able to do. And I was one of the least tenured guys working for Cintas in Florida, in Orlando, at about 8 years. So I got laid off. It's like, and it was around Thanksgiving one year, and I just happened to come back and visit and spend some time with my family, of course. And by Christmas that year, I was back home.
Well, at some point in Florida, did alcohol start becoming, was that a coping mechanism for you because of everything going on in your life? Is that where the alcohol came to play, or is it more geared towards the people you were associating yourself with and the circle of friends you had?
I think it was a little of both, because I was hurting and I was sad and I was missing my family, and I was, 39, 40 years old, still wanting to be, with a family, and I didn't have any of that. It was just me, and I was poor, pitiful me. So yeah, it was a coping mechanism at that point. And again, I didn't have a shut off valve. It didn't matter what time of day it was. Scott, I hope you're bowling terrible down there.
I hope you throw a gutter ball. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No,
I have league tomorrow night, so I can't have the bad juju vibes on me bowling.
I am not kidding. I hope he does.
So you came back home.
I came back home.
But the battle didn't end. It just changed forms. When you came home, did you feel like you were starting over again with your life?
I did. I mean, I literally came home in a moving truck with the things I wanted to bring, and my dog. That was my partner on the way back. She sat in the middle of the moving truck right there next to my lap. I stopped when we had to, and I didn't know where I was going to live when I came back. I had a friend that offered, a place to stay, which was where I went to at first. But it took me a while because coming home, I had a lot of friends that were here that I hadn't seen in a long time. And it turned into a couple of years of basically everything was a honeymoon scene. So I'd show up at a bowling center on any given night. And like you said, it enables people to drink. And I did. I did not get myself out of that as much as I wanted to. I didn't. And it took several years for me of being home to get past that stage. And I'm glad I finally did, because I was ruining my life. I was going in the wrong direction.
I've actually known a couple people that they've either gotten in a car wreck on their way home after drinking and being at bowling, and that was the moment that was pivotal for them to choose to stop drinking and get help. I've known people that have gotten several DUIs and lost their license. It changed their life, so they had to quit bowling, and they couldn't afford to bowl. When you get a DUI, it's expensive.
You can't afford to do anything after that.
And I've known people that they quit cold turkey drinking, and they get peer pressure to drink. Oh, you're bowling bad. You just need a drink. You just need to chill out and relax. When people don't realize what they're dealing with internally inside, and that they're actually trying to be sober, they're making a conscious effort. So I commend people that can walk. I don't drink when I bowl. I had one episode of that one time for my birthday, and I got shots after shots bought for me, and I couldn't even see the lane straight. I bowled like a 90, carrying like a 190 average. So I'm not a good drinker bowler, and I don't like to condone that anyways. If somebody wants to do it on their own accord, great. But I have a hard time with it because I'm one of those people, if I take one sip of alcohol, I am not driving. And I see people at bowling centers all the time. And I think something needs to happen to where we change this, because I see people at the bowling centers all the time that drink the entire time they are bowling, and then they get in their car and they drive. I'm sorry. I'm one of those people that if I even know that, I will take your keys away from you, or I'll get somebody else to drive you, or I will call you in, because something needs to be done with that. That's where as a bowling community, the bowling center should not be enabling drinking and driving. We have so many options available now. We have Ubers available, taxis, we have friends, we have bowling center owners. Like, that shouldn't even be a thing anymore, but it happens.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've gotten, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you there.
No, you're fine.
I've actually gotten to where I've taken people home now, because I didn't have people to do that for me. So I want to be on the better side, and I've taken people home. I don't care where they live. I've got the Uber app on my phone. I will pay for Ubers for people to get home. I've taken many sets of keys.
Good on you.
I bring their car and park it right out in front, so I can see the car. I can look on the cameras at any point in time of the night and make sure their car is okay. And if they need somebody to bring them back the next morning, I'll go pick them up and bring them back.
Yeah.
Don't let Scott do it, though.
I'm sorry. No, Scott is definitely not that guy. He'll just pick on you the whole time.
Oh, poor guy. Well, let's talk about let's dig a little bit deeper into your anxiety and depression now, because a lot of people, there's such a stigma around it. It's becoming more acceptable to talk about those things in society today, especially with men. Men have always, we've talked about this on this podcast several times with several different guests, where men think if they show emotion or they cry or they talk about anxiety or depression or mental health illnesses, that it makes them look weak, or they don't look strong or capable to protect and provide. So they don't want to talk about it. It's been such a stigma around everything, but you are very open about it. And I really do appreciate that about you. So I wanted to ask you, what were your anxiety attacks like in those early years back?
So I never really could put a finger on what caused the anxiety. And I don't know that anybody really can. It could be an episode that happened in your life a couple of years ago that just sparks something as far as your anxiety. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, literally, I thought I was having heart attacks. I didn't know I was having anxiety attacks, because it would it would knock me down, and I would have anxiety attacks so bad. I didn't know if it was the diabetes and the sugar drop. I didn't know what it was, but it was 100% anxiety the entire time. And I can't tell you what brings them on. I still have them. They're not as bad because I've learned to breathe a little bit. I go to the right spots. Cold air is always good when you're having an anxiety attack, and just go out and breathe.
Laying in bed,
Laying in
not
cold,
good.
no.
Not good. I've done that several times, or I just get so stuck on it that I like manifest more anxiety because I get stuck on thinking about it, and then it makes it
Sure.
worse. I am one of those people. It's interesting that you say there's times where you didn't know what it was caused by. It would just come on, whether it be a trigger that you were unaware of or whatever. I've always been one that I usually know what's causing my anxiety. I will be honest, today is a day I had anxiety from the minute I woke up until about 2 hours before this show, and I had no idea what was causing it. It wasn't the show, it wasn't anything particular in my life, it wasn't anything. It just was there, and I don't know what caused it, and I've only had that happen to me a couple times in my life. Usually I can pinpoint the anxiety because it's usually a trigger of how someone treated me or something someone said, or if I'm going bowling this past Sunday in the tournament, I was the only female on the roster. You want to talk about anxiety?
Yeah.
I had performance pressure like no other. So I get it, but that's interesting that you say that, because I've had other people tell me like, I don't know what causes it. And I'm like, how can you not know what causes it? But now I guess I'll be a little bit more understanding when people say that. So, did you ever hide what you were dealing with, or were people aware that you were dealing with anxiety and depression like you were?
I did hide it a lot. And I mean but it finally got, and still when I'm going through that, when I'm in a setting like I am running a tournament, or if I'm out at the front desk and I've got 24 lanes of 4 or 5 person leagues going, you have to hide it. Almost. You're running the ship. You have to be able to put it away in any way, shape, or form that you can, and get through that night, and then you can deal with it, the best way you can. You might have to step outside for a few minutes. I've actually gone to the walk-in coolers and stood in the walk-in coolers at about 30 degrees and just stand there and breathe. And that helps more than I really even thought it would.
Almost like meditation.
Yes, 100%. And the cold air and being able to breathe the cold air helped me. I do have medicine that I take if it gets too bad. But I try not to make that a regular. Because I just don't want to
become really habit forming, even though they say it doesn't. It does.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
So, I have it. I know it's there. And sometimes just knowing that it's there, it's almost like the security blanket kind of thing. It helps me not worry as much. My anxiety comes on because I do worry. I worry about what other people think about me. I always have. I worry about what other people might be saying about me. And it's not the soft thing, because I'm not afraid to confront that, but I still worry about it. And I try very, very hard to be the guy that everybody comes and looks up to. And I didn't, and it's almost like back in Florida where I didn't have that person to help me work my way out of it. If I didn't feel like I had that person here that I could go to when I was having those feelings, when the anxiety was there. And this is I'd probably been home maybe, 4 years at that point, 5 years, and it was still pretty bad.
What helped you start climbing out of that rut that you were stuck in?
Very soon after that. You mentioned in the beginning, or actually before we went on the air, how old my daughter is. And it just so happens my daughter is 10 years old. And I started climbing out of that rut about that time. I don't have any other children. I'm 58 years old with a 10-year-old daughter, which is not super normal for most people. But she is 100% my lifeline to anything that I'm doing. She means everything to me, and just being able to have her around makes me happy, makes me smile. And it doesn't matter how bad of a day I'm having. She knows if I'm having a bad day, because she'll come and just put her arms around me. She'll just walk right up to me and give me a hug and tells me she loves me. And
kids are our greatest teachers. I
she's
just told somebody that does not have any kids. I said, you don't understand because you don't have a kid. Kids teach us patience and understanding and genuine love. That's what they teach us. And they teach us how to be stronger and teach us what we need to do to make ourselves better humans,
Yeah.
not just for them as a parent, but for ourselves, so we can live longer to enjoy them a little bit longer.
right. And
Yeah.
without question. And she's out there right now. She's helping work the front desk while
Aw.
she's 10, and she's helping the porter work the front desk because she knew I was going to be doing this. She goes, Daddy, I just want to come and help. So she's out there helping. And she's an amazing student. She's just an unbelievable kid, a very lovable kid. And where she's starting to branch out. She was super shy. She still is a little bit until she gets to know somebody, which is not a bad thing. But now she wants to play softball. She's not quite yet picked up the bowling thing all the way, but she loves being at the bowling alley.
Yeah.
And I remember back, I really didn't pick up the bowling thing until I was 14 years old. So, and I'm not going to push her to do anything. If she doesn't want to bowl, then guess what? She doesn't have to.
Wow. And then after Lainey, life does something rare for you. It brings you back to where it all began.
Yeah.
So what did it mean to become GM at Colerain Bowl, your childhood home?
So when I first moved back home, I was working at Northwest. I went back to work at Northwest. I worked there as a night manager when I was a teenager. But then when I moved back, I started back at Northwest. That's where all the honeymoon phase was, and too much of the partying, and couldn't step away from it. And then I actually had the opportunity where they needed some help at Colerain Bowl. The business was hurting. It was a 36-lane center, and they just needed somebody to come in and give it some new life. And the owner reached out to me to have lunch, and I thought we were just having lunch. And as it turns out, we had lunch, and then we sat there and talked for about 5 hours. And he's like, I really could use some help at the lanes. I don't know how much you really love Northwest, and if you do, then that's fine. But I have an opportunity for you to come over and help us rebuild our business and our team. And he said, but you don't have to give me an answer today. Let's talk again next week. And we met for dinner the following week. And we were just talking, and he slid a piece of paper across the desk, and he said, here's my offer. Here's what I'm looking for. Here's what I need. And I said, his name is Frank. And I told Frank, I said, Frank, this is an opportunity. It didn't really matter what that paper said, for me to come back and rejuvenate the place that I grew up in, that I learned how to bowl in, that I threw my first ball in, that I made some of my very best friends in life at. And it didn't matter what your paper said to me. I'm going to take this opportunity and come with you over to Colerain Bowl.
Well, what was the moment you realized? When was the moment that you realized that we built something huge there at Colerain Bowl?
It took a couple of years. I had the tournament. The TMT Bowling was already, it was the Colerain Bowl Sunday Sweeper that I started at Northwest, and it came with me. And then once we kind of rebranded it, it became the TMT Bowling Sunday Sweeper Todd McGill tournaments, because I ran a lot of other tournaments besides just the sweeper. And I kind of rebuilt a lot of the league base from the tournament bowlers that came in through the sweeper or other tournaments that came in, and I made sure that they had a good time. I made sure that the tournament was ran well. I made sure the beer was cold for them. I made sure if we had food, the food was hot for them.
Well, and if anybody knows you, they know that you created events that such that brought such loyalty and community to the bowling center when you would have TMT bowling events or other tournaments, because the tournament scene there exploded.
Yes,
when you
it
were
did.
there. Yeah.
It did. And that's what built the leagues back up, which it was just the perfect circle of things. The leagues helped build the tournaments, and the tournaments helped build the leagues all at the same time. And they told two friends, and so on kind of game, to where we had a full house of leagues every night of the week. There's no such thing as 2 shifts of bowling anymore. There's no second shift hardly anywhere. And so that wasn't a thing, but we had 36 lanes of leagues every night of the week. During the fall season, we had a 36 team 4-person have-a-ball league in the summer. That was huge. We let kids bowl in it because there's no prize money. It was at the end of the season, you could get a bowling ball or not. You had your choice whether you paid X amount or this. And a lot of those people were people that were tournament bowlers that thought, hey, I can get a brand new bowling ball by bowling in a league at Colerain Bowl. And this is all I have to do. And that's how I sold it. I mean, I just said, this is really all you have to do. And it just became very easy to me to talk to people and get them to come to Colerain without, trying to snag teams or bowlers from other bowling centers, because that's not proper to do.
Yeah, that's like an employer poaching from another business.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's more of, you put out the right product, people are gonna, if you build it, they will come kind of thing.
Word of mouth. Yep.
And that's really what I tried to do at Colerain. And I guess I got fortunate that every switch I hit, every button I turned, everything I did worked.
Well, and then something happened that honestly sounds like grief. What did it feel like watching Colerain Bowl close?
So there was rumors going around for a couple of years that Colerain Bowl was for sale. And let's face it, if you're in the bowling scene and a lot of bowling alleys, any bowling alleys for sale for the right price.
Mm-hmm.
Most every bowling center, if they don't own the land, or even if they do, the land that they're sitting on is probably worth more money than that business is. And it's just a fact. Now it's maybe not the case with some of the newer main event type things or the family entertainment centers, but the traditional bowling center, it's hard to just be a traditional bowling center in this day and age and be able to make the right amount of money to keep the business going. It's just hard. Even though we were a full house every week, we had the tournaments going every weekend. I would get 90 to 100 bowlers every Sunday evening at 6:00 to come bowl a tournament.
That is freaking impressive.
A $40 handicap tournament. And they would come from all over, and it was a blast. I had an absolute blast. So there was always that rumor going around. I would always discount it. It's like, this place isn't going anywhere. We're killing it here. We're on fire. We're having people that want to bring their events to us now. We're not going anywhere.
So never, what you're saying to people right now that are listening or will listen is, if you bowl, never take your bowling center for granted, ever. No. Support it the best that you can and love it while it's here, because it could be gone. I mean, I've seen bowling centers that switch hands. We had one here in Jerome where I live, and somebody with the right price, I mean, it was for sale for a long time for way more than I thought it was worth. And somebody had enough money and deep enough pockets, they bought it. And now it's a fun center. It's not a bowling alley. I'm sorry. They have a couple leagues a week, but you go in there to practice. There's no oil on the lanes.
No.
And if you live here, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a fun center. There's arcade, there's pizza parties, there's food. Food is a bowling alley staple, obviously, but it's different. You walk in and you feel like you're at Big Al's out of Boise, Idaho, it's a fun zone for family and friends. So it's nowhere. I went there one day to try to practice and put up a camera and shoot some video. And I think I did get some video there one day because they were slower, but I won't spend my money there. And the way that they're changing the pricing of just even practice, I mean, an hour for $30 and I'm trying to practice and actually make my practice worth my while, I'm not going to go to a fun center. So now I have the choice of driving 30 minutes away or 45. And where I frequent the 45-minute bowling center drive away, because that's where I bowl league at. That's where I'm going to go practice at, is where I bowl league at.
Sure.
And where I bowl most of my tournaments when they're around this area. So I think, I mean, at the end of it, I think that a lot of us forget that we get so used to walking through those doors and bowling league with the people that we know. But like you said, for the right price, anybody can sell a bowling alley. And then God knows what they're going to do with the bowling alley after that. They're going to shut it down and make it something else, or totally change the vibe and up the prices. And I mean, I know a bowling center, their money doesn't come from the bowling and their money comes from their bar.
Oh yeah,
because
there's
jack the
several of
prices
those
up.
around here too, and there's
Yep.
several of the family entertainment centers, and yes, it's a good model if that's what you're wanting to do, because I mean they get a lot of open bowlers, and I guess those open bowlers are oblivious to what it would cost to come open bowling at a bowling alley as opposed to their FECs, family entertainment centers, and it's just a different atmosphere, it's a different world, and you know, I want those folks to come and bowl at my bowling center. I'm going to show them a good time. I'm going to play good music for them in here. I'm going to make sure that they have a good time in there. I mean, I get, even with my leagues, I'll get on the microphone and I'll call people out. I'll have fun with them. Or I might have somebody in front of me that's somebody I've never met and say, if you can throw a strike on the next shot, I'm going to give you a free hour of bowling next time you come back.
That's awesome. That's
try
awesome.
to have fun with them. Or my league bowlers that I see every week, that there's a lot of them that moved here from Colerain when we closed that are bowling here now. The entire league on Thursday nights looks forward to me calling out the first person every week that throws a gutter and makes the spare. So it's the thing I do where I congratulate Joe on lane 10 for converting the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spare. And they cannot wait until I do it. And I usually after a certain amount of time, it's like, all right, no more tonight. I'm finished.
Well, I wanted to ask you something. How did that closure at Colerain Bowl impact your anxiety and depression?
It was really hard. Colerain was home. Colerain was, and I mean, I want to go back a little further, even where my anxiety and depression got really bad was when COVID shut us down. And that's the tournaments were really ramping up. And I literally sat in the parking lot of Colerain Bowl when I got the notification. We had to shut down right then. And I was in my car. I was in tears. I was like, but these guys are coming to bowl. There's already some people here. How can I close? And I didn't have a choice. And it just put me into tears. And that was, I wanted to be there for those folks. I wanted to be there for them to be able to bowl. And it was something for them to do. And if it might keep somebody out of trouble, which is kind of the focus that I was in at that point, I wanted to be there to help them. And I couldn't do it. All of a sudden, we were locked in our houses and we couldn't do anything. And that's really, I think, where it got at its worst. And then, once we were able to open back up and things got a little better, but it was still there, of course. And then once Colerain and I found out that they were closing, the meetings I had with Frank, he's the one that called me about it. Frank had a stroke, and Frank went into a nursing home. He's still at the home. I still go visit Frank. He can sit here and have this podcast and conversation just like we are right now. But he also had a lot of pride and knew that he was not going to be able to be back in that bowling center after that happened. And that's what caused the closure and the sale of Colerain Bowl. And it got leveled, and it's a car dealership now on a very busy street that is full of nothing but car dealerships. Now there's another one.
Well, and then comes this moment where someone makes a phone call and it changes everything. How did you get connected with Bowlifi originally?
So Tim, we talked about Tim earlier. I was actually, we used to live stream all of our tournaments, and even the sweepers we had a live stream. I got this huge I've got a whole setup. I mean, the cameras and the lights and the amps and everything. And we would set it up every Sunday, and do our live stream and do a step ladder for it. And that was so much fun. It just was a lot of fun. And I lost my train of thought there. I'm sorry.
You're okay.
You had said to me, go ahead, say it. Tell me again.
I just asked you, how did you get connected with Bowlifi originally?
Yes. Okay. So I would always take a picture with the champion at the end of it. And I was wearing a Bowlifi jersey, and Tim had messaged me, and he wasn't a friend of mine on Facebook. He just messaged me and said, "Hey, keep doing great things over there in Cincinnati, and keep, supporting Bowlifi, and way to rep us on your pictures." And hi, Jared. And at that point, I had no idea. Really, I mean, I had a jersey on, but I didn't know what each one of them meant. I didn't know which one was best. I didn't know which one was good, bad, or indifferent. I just liked the jersey, and I bought it. And the more me and Tim started talking quite a bit, and then he added me on staff as a regular staffer for Bowlifi. And then they got into more of what the TMT Bowling thing was, where we had 52 tournaments a year, and we had 10 other large events that were scratch events that we did throughout the year. One big handicap one where we did 400 trio teams in a couple different weekends.
Oh,
it was a blast. We did a cookout for them. We did burgers, brats, and mets, and that was all part of what they did. It was just a blast. And then the sweepers for 52 weeks, and the scratch tournament, the Fat Boy Challenge, is one of my favorite tournaments a year, because that one started with a cookout, and then it's actually a scratch tournament on 3 different patterns. It's a grind out, and it sells out every year because people love the format and they just like what it is. So Tim had put me on staff, and then they realized that TMT Bowling had a pretty huge following, and Steve got involved. Steve Fairchild is the owner, and they actually threw me an offer to they gave me a jersey, a free jersey for every tournament winner for the entire year. 52 jerseys times how much does a jersey cost?
Yeah. And we're not talking like extra logos or names or anything, just
no
jersey. Yeah, that adds up.
And it was really cool. And that being said, Steve started reaching out to me a little bit.
Yeah, tell us about that phone call with Steve Fairchild.
Yeah, it was a week after Colerain Bowl, or right as Colerain Bowl was closing, and he just called me, and I talked to him once or twice, but not in a business sense. Not, he was asking me about something, or I had to call him about something that I sent back or whatever. But he called me, and he's like, what are you going to do? He's like, do you see yourself spraying shoes the rest of your life and handing out open bowling lanes? And it's like, no, I sure don't. It's still going to be part of my life one way or another, but I don't see that as being the rest of my life. I said, maybe I can get with the right people and I can be part of an ownership and work my way towards owning my own bowling center. Or, and then every time I'd bring that up, he'd be like, well, you're going to still end up spraying shoes and dealing with people all the time, and rude customers and rude open bowlers that are going to not care about your center and kick ball returns. And it's like, Steve, what are you trying to tell me? And he's like, I have an opportunity for you. And that's when he brought me in as basically a district manager, where I had was a territory manager.
That's when I was on Bowlifi staff. You were still territory manager. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had just a territory that I managed. And got to learn a little bit more of the business and working a little closely with Tim and working with bringing people on staff, which Tim did all of that, which now I do all of that for the whole country. And we had different guys in different pods around the country that were territory managers. And that's how I basically got started with Bowlifi, other than they sponsored basically TMT Bowling.
Well, how did it feel going from jobless and depressed to having purpose again?
Pretty amazing. I mean, I was nervous for what I was about to be doing because I had no idea what I was getting into other than it was still part of the bowling world. But it was a totally different side of the bowling world that I'd ever known or seen or been part of. But it was sales. And at that point, you know, I wasn't afraid to talk to people. I wasn't afraid to make that call and, you know, let them know who I was and what I was doing. And I thought, you know, I think I can do this. And I mean, it was pretty much, Steve said, how much do you need to make? And I just told him what I was making at the end of Colerain. He's like, I can get you there. Not a problem. And I mean, I started with them right away, very slow. And then I started working, you know, into some of the meetings where they had brought me into some of their marketing meetings or strategic meetings and learning even more. And then dealing with Steve and dealing with, you know, Ryan Simonelli, who was the sales
I love
manager.
Ryan.
So do I. I still message Ryan.
Ryan's a great guy.
Yes.
Off and on. And he's a wonderful human being.
Yeah. Now you're one of the busiest you've ever been, but in a good way.
I want
to point out to everybody that this man has lost 140 pounds.
I did.
What pushed you to make that change?
Well, I quit drinking. And that was a lot of it. I did have some issues with the diet with diabetes, which I would imagine was part of from drinking. There's a lot of sugar in Captain Morgan, just so everybody knows. It doesn't matter if you mix it with Diet Coke or not. It's still got sugar in it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I haven't had a drink in over 4 years now.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
How has your health journey affected your mindset?
It has helped it. I mean, I've still had different issues. I mean, I've had several surgeries in the past couple of years, but they weren't related to me being heavy or light. They were just I had a hernia that needed fixed. I had my wrist that needed fixed, probably from a lot of bowling. I had some neck issues that I had a neck surgery. And this was literally, I never had surgery of any kind in my life. And I had 6 different surgeries in 2.5 years. So even though I had lost all the weight and felt pretty good about myself, I was falling apart. I felt like I was falling apart. And my little joke was, I want to go back to being fat and happy again. Because that's how I felt. It's like this, you know, I lost all the weight. I'm beyond the diabetic side now. There's not even pre-diabetic anymore. And my A1C's down below 5. And I watched what I eat. And that's how I lost the weight. But once I got past these little issues, and they were nagging issues that probably had been there for many years that probably needed to be taken care of. But I finally got myself in a situation where I could take care of myself. Not only watching what I drink, watching what I eat, having portion control instead of eating the entire bag of chips. I can still eat my chips, but not all of them. And that's where, that's how I lost the weight. That's how I started feeling better and getting these surgeries done. As hard as it was and as sad as it was that I was going to be out of trying to come back to bowl, I knew it was something that was going to continue to make me better moving forward. So I didn't let it bother me too bad.
Well, and I want to pause here because you've been recognized in a huge way.
I have.
For most people that don't know, what did it feel like to be inducted into the Greater Cincinnati Hall of Fame?
A dream come true. Ever since I started bowling and going way back to being the first youth bowler to average 200, I thought it'd be really cool to be in a Hall of Fame of some sort, even if it was the Colerain Bowl Hall of Fame. And
You also received the Sam Levine Memorial Award as well.
The Sam Levine Memorial Award was about a year before that. Lucas, one of the general managers of a bowling center up in Dayton, I traveled into his center a lot, and he was just amazed with the live stream stuff that we did and the tournaments that we brought into his building. He actually nominated me for the Sam Levine, which is more of a sportscaster type of an award. But it was also sportscaster and promoting bowling. And when I was awarded that was my first kind of major award that I got. And it was pretty cool. The dinner was really neat. It's my first time standing up in front of a big crowd like that and speaking. It's so much different when you get in front of that setting and you have to speak to 100, 200, 300 people that are sitting out there just waiting for every word, instead of standing behind the front counter when you have control in the microphone. It's really easy to do that, but all of a sudden you've got a microphone and you've got 300 people that are being quiet and they're just watching nothing but you. Man, it gets a little tough.
Yeah, that gives me goosebumps.
It's kind of like throwing that first honor score and your bowling ball weighs 30 pounds on your last couple shots because you're so nervous, and that's what it feels like, and that's what it felt like when I was up in front of the Sam Levine Award when I got that.
Yeah.
And then I had the opportunity and was brought into the Greater Cincinnati Hall of Fame, and it was more into a friends and family category as promotion and basically bringing bowling back to Cincinnati on a competitive level, as well as on, the league side level and the youth level. And I mean, I tried to do everything, and literally I didn't really do anything special. All I did was what I felt was right to do my part. And there was a gentleman that when he was elected into the Hall of Fame, and one of his things, he goes, a couple years prior to me, and his whole speech was about just doing his part. And that really stuck in my head to where I just wanted to do my part to give back to the game that I grew up falling in love with, and obviously getting myself into trouble and out of trouble and working my way back to where I am now. As a GM at a bowling center and sales manager with Bowlifi, I wouldn't want it any other different. I mean, I'm as busy as I've ever been, but it's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, I want to end the deeper part of this conversation with something that matters a lot, because you've been honest about your anxiety and depression, and people need to hear this. So I have a couple questions for you. What would you tell someone who feels like they're too far gone, that's dealing with things like anxiety and depression?
There is no such thing as too far gone when it comes to your anxiety and depression. You just need to find that friend, find that group, find that family member that you can talk to. Maybe you call that doctor that you can go in and sit and talk to. There's people out there to help you. And if you ever feel like you're as close as to being too far gone, that always scares me to hear that somebody would feel that way, because I'd rather them talk to me or talk to you or talk and find help than to have to be at their funeral. And unfortunately, that's where people go sometimes when they feel like it's too much for them.
I posted something about that on our private Facebook group page the other day, that I would rather take a call from you and listen to you than go to your funeral.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the truth, but I mean, that I've had friends that have gone through the same thing, and that they have, they're not with me. They're not here. And it's because they just couldn't take it. They couldn't.
What do you do when you feel it starting to creep in, your anxiety or depression?
It's such a hard thing to manage. I just make sure that I talk to the right people. I tend to bury myself into my work. I may come up with a new tournament idea that makes me focus on something else besides what's going bad in my life or what might be bad. It's really probably not that bad. That's where a lot of my tournament ideas came from, was being down or feeling sorry for myself. And then I would come up with this and start jotting stuff down. It's maybe how people write songs. I don't know.
Do you feel that bowling saved you, or do you save yourself through bowling?
I think the bowling and the bowling community 100% saved me, and it taught me how to save myself. So I think it's a two-part question. But it started with bowling and the right people. I mean, I've got a huge following here, and I love every one of them. And they show that love back to me. Like I said, my Thursday night mixed couples league that's in here is 24 teams, and I could be having the worst day of my life, and I could walk in here on Thursday night, and when I fire the lanes up at 7:00 for them to start, they're playing great music. They're cutting up, they're laughing with me, and it could be the worst day of my life, at least feel like it. And all of a sudden, these folks they're family. They're my family. I did a just because I like to do the give back game, and I did a Christmas in July, and I had some gift cards that I bought for restaurants, and I had bowling balls, and I had free jerseys, and I literally had everybody's name in a box, and I had 20 or 25 gifts that were wrapped, and nobody knew what they were. They had to pick a number, and they got to go pick the number. And it was just because of how they made me feel. I wanted to do something for them, and that's what I did to give back to them. I didn't have to, and they would tell you that I didn't have to do that. They didn't want me to buy them something, but I didn't care. They meant that much to me, and they do today. That league is probably the best league that I've ever managed or been part of, because of the people that are in it and how I don't even know how to explain it. It's just like everybody that walks in it's like a holiday, and it's my family coming to visit that I haven't seen, whether it's been a week, but it feels like it's been a year. Yeah. And we always have something fresh to talk about and something fun to talk about. And
I always say that it's not you're just having a bad day. It's not a bad life. But I want to point out something again, because I've said this several times on my show. When Nolan Worley was on my show, we had Brunsnick on the show. Geez, Rob, who else have we had on the show? It's bowlers. Chase Nadeau, Morgan Robinson. Who?
Josie Barnes.
Josie Barnes.
Oh, wow.
Josie Barnes. I love Josie Barnes. I'm unfortunately not going to bowl with Vanderbilt this year at Women's Nationals, I've decided. Sad, but it's all right. I just want to reiterate that the best thing that my bowling coach ever told me, Robert Bob Harvey, and he told me when he was coaching me, I came to practice one day and he said, "What is your problem?" Because I argued with him on every shot. I argued with him on every change. I was throwing the ball like crap. I was not concentrating. I was not anything. I had so much stress going on my outside personal life. I shouldn't even went to practice that day, but I was glad I did, because the best advice he ever gave me was, everything that's going on in your life, the minute that you step up to those doors, there's a bucket, and you put all that shit in that bucket. And he goes, because it's shit. Yeah. And I put it in that bucket. He goes, the next time I see you at practice, you better never act like this again. And I came to practice a week later. I drove 2 hours one way for practice, for an hour practice each time, once a week. Then we go twice a week. And then we went to 3 times a week. And then we went back down to once a week. And now I haven't practiced with him for over a year. But he's been really busy doing PBA, getting back on the PBA 50 tour and stuff. So he gave me that advice, and I changed my tune real quick. And I use that same advice now today when I go to league and when I go to tournaments. It's like, okay, whatever I've got going on, stress with work, stress at home, stress with finances, stress with family, friends, whatever it is, let it go. Because if you siphon that in your head the whole time you're bowling, I've literally been in shots where I count my steps. 1, 2, 3, back, 4, out. And I'll get to 3 back, and I'm like, oh God, am I going to be able to do this Friday? And I'm literally getting ready to release my ball, and I will miss my mark. And then I will drop the ball. I'll do whatever is anti, you don't do that when you're bowling. And anyways, and it will just mess with you. And then it just starts a really bad pattern. It's horrible. And I will be quite honest with you. Sunday at this tournament that I was at, we're bowling on the Great Wall of China, and I'm the only female in the whole freaking roster. And I know walking in, I'm already going to get my butt handed to me and my clock cleaned by at least 10 of these guys because they bowl at this house. They know the topography really, really well. They're well known in the Northwest region. And so I had to beat out at least 4 people. They took 14. And I'll be humble for a minute. I finished third to last.
Yeah.
A lot of it was I threw the ball really well. But it's not that I missed a lot of spares. I had really bad breaks, so I had a lot of splits. I could not strike. I had one all-spare game, my first all-spare tournament game ever for a $172. Then
that's a grind. 172 without a strike.
Then I had a second all-spare game for $158. It was because I was chopping. I was chopping. It was just terrible. But there were several times when I look back on it, I was thinking about things for the upcoming work week because it was Sunday, the upcoming work week, bills that need to be paid, errands that need to be ran while I'm on the lanes, not while I'm throwing my shot because my approach was great, but it was all in my head. So I wasn't focusing on what other bowlers were doing and I was only one of 2 lefties in the house. Well, I'm a lefty, all know.
Yeah.
A right-handed backup bowler on the left side. But the other lefty, true lefty, he actually won the tournament. And he came down to me at one point and he's like, "Where are you playing?" And I told him, and he goes, we had talks before the tournament, and he said, "Well, I'm going to throw up 5 and I'm going to throw way outside." And I go, "Whatever, you got the speed and the revs, you go for it." He comes down to me and he goes, "You know what? You're right." He goes, "I started throwing up the 13 board and dang, it worked." And he goes, "Thanks for laying it out for me, kid." Because I was ahead of him on every lane. He got to bowl after me, so I cleaned up the lane for him. So I never dealt with transition on my side, which that's one of those tournaments where I would have loved to have transition because the right side opened up way quick.
Yeah.
But I started to let all the factors of that, being the refty, being the only girl, having outside stressors out in real life going on, I started to let all of that siphon in my head while I was bowling. Not on the approach, but when I was sitting on the bench, not paying attention to anything else that I was supposed to be paying attention to.
Yeah.
So I made really insignificant ball changes at the wrong time. I didn't focus. There's so many things that our mental health can hinder or help when we're on the lanes. And I don't think that people that say that bowling isn't a sport really piss me off because they really don't understand that it is a sport. They say, well, a lot of bowlers are out of shape. They're fat and they smoke and they drink. And I'm like, but you don't understand. If for somebody to take and bowl 3 games in a league, got it. Still a sport because you still got to have the mental aptitude to do it. You still have to have the agility to do it. You still got to have the flexibility to do it. You still got to be able to physically do it. I've watched 90-year-old women at nationals throw the ball at 90 years old. It's still a sport. But if you're in my predicament a few years ago, I was bowling 50 some tournaments in 6 months.
Yeah.
That is in its nature is a sport because you have to have the physicality to be able to do it and not just the mindset. The mind is one thing. Your body can go and go and go and go and go. It's your mind that keeps you there. So if your mind is not okay walking into a bowling center, then you're already shitting on yourself.
You're going to have a bad night.
Yeah. So my best advice to anybody listening is please put the shit in the bucket at the door.
Yeah.
But anyways, on that
excellent advice.
Yeah. But anyways, on that note, all right, Todd, you survived the deep stuff with me tonight. So now we're going to end with rapid fire. No thinking too hard. First answer that comes to your mind. Are you ready?
Oh boy. No, but go ahead.
You're ready. Okay. Favorite bowling center snack?
Pizza.
Ooh. One bowling term you think non-bowlers would laugh at?
The Bradley. Oh, bowling term. I'm sorry. You said
like
tournament.
Bradley.
No, I thought you said tournament. I'm sorry.
No.
So the bowling term, turkey.
Okay. The most annoying thing someone can say to a bowler?
That they're about to play bowling instead of bowl. I have a kid that works here that says he plays bowling for his high school team. And I said, you do not play bowling, you bowl.
You bowl. Yeah. One thing you still miss about the old school bowling days.
A full house every night, 2 shifts.
Action after hours.
Action after hours, 100%.
Yep.
Yeah, to the people. It was easy then to bring people in. It's not easy anymore.
It's not. Biggest bowling pet peeve. I know you got one. I ask this question on my Facebook page at least once a year, and the answers are astounding.
I'm sure they are. I am not going to say somebody throwing a backup ball because it would just be funny if I said that.
I've tried to do it the right way. It doesn't work.
That's definitely not it. I just thought I'd have fun with that one.
You're fine. You're fine.
My not being there to bowl when it's your turn.
Oh, yes. Thank you. We deal with that on our league, and it's if you could bring back one bowling alley that closed, which one?
Do I have to answer this?
No, Colerain Bowl. I already know that one.
Yep.
Most iconic bowling ball name you've ever owned.
Ebonite the One.
I remember that ball.
It's a good ball. That is a good ball.
One of the best series. I had some of my best back from the old days.
Yep.
When I got back into it, the Ebonite series, the One that whole series has been the best for me.
What's harder, a 10-pin or staying calm when life hits?
Well, for me, it'd be a 7-pin.
Yeah. I know he's a lefty, but sorry.
That's okay.
I'm just used to the 10-pin. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
God, I better study up for next week's guest then, too.
10 pins are really easy for me.
Me too.
So a 7-pin or
staying calm when life hits.
Staying calm when life hits. 100%.
That's harder for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
One word to describe tournament bowlers.
Needy.
Yeah, that would be accurate. If your daughter Lady described you in one word, what would you hope it is?
That's kind of hard. I mean, just her saying daddy, because she is proud to tell her friends, this is my daddy. So just hearing that word come out of her little tiny voice that just does it.
Now, I want you to imagine you're on the PBA tour and it's going to be like WWE entry. What is your walk-up song if you were on the PBA tour?
It's going to be Metallica, Master of Puppets.
Yeah.
Great song. I can see that. If bowling was banned tomorrow, what hobby would replace it?
I mean, you said just the first thing that came to mind.
Mm-hmm.
And only because we're watching the Olympics right now, I'm just going to say curling.
Oh, God.
Yes. Yeah.
No.
That's the right answer.
No. I actually saw someone. Okay. So I'm going to get on a soapbox here a second. Okay. I haven't watched the Super Bowl for the last few years because it's gotten way too out of hand.
Because
when it comes to the halftime show. No, I'm a huge Seahawks fan. So I had to have someone tell me this year that the Seahawks were in the Super Bowl because I didn't watch any football. But go Seahawks. Rob, Patriots still suck. Anyways, so when I woke up that morning, everyone is going off about the 2 different halftime shows, and I'm totally oblivious to any of this crap that's going on. And I had to Google who won the Super Bowl. But I saw a post that someone said, I watched 2 minutes of that halftime show, turned it off, and I watched curling. And I'm like, you got to be bored because curling.
No, it's a good choice.
I'm going to tell you, curling is probably the best option.
Probably, but I can't watch curling. But that's interesting that you would say that.
There's so much strategy involved. You gotta. I'm telling you, gotta.
I guess I'm just gonna have to sit and watch it. I mean, I get made fun of because I like to watch golf on TV, and some people say it's like watching paint dry.
I would agree with that. I'd rather play it than watch it.
Okay, Todd. So now I have some hot seat closing questions for you. Ready for this?
I thought we were done.
Oh, well, last two. So here are the hot seat
Okay.
ones.
All right.
One is, what's something you're still healing from that people wouldn't expect?
Oh boy. I think the way that this is tough. The way I got treated my last couple of years while I was in Florida by people that were supposed to be friends.
That always does hurt. Yeah.
Though, I mean, I had several that stole money from me, substantial amounts, and taken credit cards and debit cards from me. And that's something, and they were friends again. I probably will never get over that.
Okay. So, last question. What's the one thing you want people to hear, remember after this episode?
I'm going back to my friend's words is to always do your part. No matter what it is in life, if you're trying to help grow something or trying to help groom somebody, if you have to help them get there, just do your part. Whether it's maybe they've had too much to drink and they need help getting an Uber or getting home, do your part. It doesn't matter. You can put that phrase literally in anything that comes into mind. And if you want to be somebody that people are going to look up to, if you do your part, they're going to remember that, and your people are going to look up to you, and you're going to go a long way if you choose to.
That is great advice. And I just noticed that Steve Fairchild is in the chat. So
he is. And
thank you so much, Steve, for tuning in. And thanks for your wonderful comment. I really appreciate that.
And I got to say something before we're done here. And I know we've gone way past.
Oh, you're good. Last week's episode went way past too. You're good.
Okay. So Steve, if you've talked to Steve before, and Steve he might yell at me tomorrow, but Steve's a very busy man. I mean, I can tell you how busy I am, but Steve is incredibly busy. He's quick with answers. He's got an answer for pretty much everything, whether it's the answer you want to hear or not. But there's been a couple times that I've actually been hurting a little bit, whether it's mentally, physically, which maybe one led to the other. I don't know. And Steve has actually been a guy who I was able just to open up to and talk to, and I would have never really, and I don't take this the wrong way, Steve, but I didn't know that you would be that person that was going to get on that phone call with me and talk me through my problems and show me the better side of where I was at. And I can't thank you enough. I always tell him thank you for the opportunity to be part of the Bowlifi team, but this is something on a totally different level, to where it's not that he talked me off of a ledge, but he talked me through a couple times that over the past 4 or 5 years, that I just did not feel very good about myself and didn't see myself being the right guy for anything. And Steve was very special and he's very integral part of. I'll never forget some of the words that he said to me to help me come out of the funk that day. And I'd need to thank him for that for as long as I know him, which he already knows. I plan on retiring, working for Bowlifi or whatever company whatever we're doing at that point as far as selling bowling jerseys, because he's a very important part of my life. And he's other than my family and, my mom and dad, like I said, I have 2 brothers and sisters. Steve and the crowd of Bowlifi they've taken me in as part of theirs. And I don't know, hopefully he's still listening, because it's something I hope he knows and he realizes that he did a lot for me and didn't realize that he did.
Well, and I can attest to the fact, Todd, that just in the amount of time that I was on staff with Bowlifi, the people that work at Bowlifi are, I mean, it's unparalleled, unmatched to the customer service, how they treat you like a person. It's a very family feel. They're definitely not, it's not like most companies, they're there for the bottom dollar and what can you do for me? They really, I mean, there's times where I remember Jackie Vasquez, I had a jersey I'd ordered and I needed it before a tournament, needed it because it was a PWBA event. And she really got down to work to figure out where that jersey was at. And boy, by golly, I had that thing on my doorstep right in time.
Yeah.
And you've always been great. I know you've reached out to me recently to see if I'd come back on staff, and maybe we'll revisit that.
Jackie's watching. She just
Oh, hi, Jackie.
There
I
she
love her. I love her. But we might have to revisit me coming back on staff and chat a little bit.
The door is always open for you,
There's
young lady.
some
Just don't
personal reasons
that.
as to why I quit being on staff this year with several companies, but we can talk about that another time. But Todd, I wanted to thank you so much for being here and being real, not just about bowling, but about the human side of your story too. You're proof that your worst season doesn't get the final word and that the purpose can find you again, even after you lose everything. So for everyone listening, if this episode hits you, share it with someone who needs it. This episode will be available for restream directly following the live airing, and then it will be available on every audio podcast platform starting Thursday. So you can go ahead and share away as soon as we wrap up here tonight. And Todd, you happen to know next week's guest that we have coming on. We have Mr. Chuck Ritchie Jr. coming on next week on the show as well. I'm so excited. Hey, now he sent me one of those too. He sent me some thumb tape that was signed, and I feel really
special. It's because we're special.
Yeah,
you didn't have to guess his score. We're special.
Chuck Ritchie's a good man, so
he is, and he's Bowlifi too, and he's Brunswick, and he's all the things that I love. That
one of my
about
best
bowling.
Well,
so
I am Ebonite, which is Brunswick, and Bowlifi, and so that makes Chuck Ritchie a fantastic guest for next week.
Yeah, he will be on next week. So if you're listening, please give Todd a follow on TMT Bowling. Check out Bowlifi and everything that they have to offer. You won't regret it. They have some great jerseys. Like I said, this closet behind has like 30 plus in it. But
only 30?
Only 30, maybe more.
I just gave about 50 of them to somebody, and they're making a quilt out of all my old jerseys.
That's cool. A great idea. Yeah.
I'll make sure I send you a picture when I get it done.
Please do. And I mean, my favorite jersey of all time, I would get off this headset and go grab it quick. I should have thought about this before, but is when I designed the suicide awareness jersey, and I was so elated because they put it on the website. I remember Amy Troutman was the first one.
She's a very good friend of mine.
Yes, she's the very first one to message me and ask me, where can I get that jersey?
Yep.
I got a hold of Jackie and Ryan Simonelli, and then it was put on the website. And I don't know how many of those they sold, but I've seen pictures of people wearing that jersey around, and it melts my heart. I always wear it
is it
to bowling.
Blue, is it the blue one?
It's purple and teal. It's mainly purple.
Yep.
But it's holds a special place in my heart. So I always wear it in the months in remembrance of my dad and my sister. So anyways, but Todd, I wanted to really thank you again for coming on the show. I really do appreciate it. You have a great story and everybody loves you. What's not to love about Todd? And congratulations on the weight loss and the sobriety, and keep doing what you're doing and growing the sport of bowling in your area and doing the things you can to keep it going and lighthearted and fun, and just keep doing you, Todd.
I try to make people laugh. You follow my Facebook page. It's either pictures of my daughter bowling or dad jokes.
Yep, dad jokes are the best.
Yes, I agree. So.
All right, Todd. Well, you have a great night, and thank you so much for taking time out of your night to be with us here on the show.
I thank you very much for reaching out and having me be part of it. It's been fun. I was nervous when I got leading up to this, but it took a few minutes and I was fine. So I thank you guys both very much. And if you need, I know the next one is Chuck Ritchie, and once I start seeing them, I will promote them just like I did this one. And everybody that's watching, make sure you follow this page, make sure you promote, share, hit the bell,
hit the subscribe button.
hit subscribe, hit the bell so you know when the next live's going to happen. Right when she goes live, it will alert you, and you can just open your phone and watch it right then.
Right.
So
Thanks, God.
I'm gonna do whatever I can to help grow. This is something kind of silly. Do you have your own logo yet?
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
actually making a logo right now for a public figure page that's going to be on Facebook. So we'll
I
have
want
that here soon.
I want the okay to use that logo on a jersey once it's ready.
Oh, I would love that. Yes, absolutely. Yes, I will get that to you.
There's going to be one for me and one for you.
Oh,
how's that?
Absolutely.
I love that.
Now get off here before you make me cry.
Not going to make you cry. All right, everybody. Yeah, I got to go back to work. They're looking through the door like, what is he doing in there?
He's
Thank you,
busy.
Todd, so much. We appreciate
Guys, thanks so much. I had a great time. And
My pleasure.
yep, everybody have a great rest of your evening.
All right, bud. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Bye.
Whew, yeah, I was getting teary, especially when he said, like, what would your daughter want to say about you? Like, and just daddy. Like, literally, that just like, because I have a 7-year-old and I'm 49, almost 50. So, I'm pretty much in the same boat as him having a kid later in life. And when he said that, my eyes just like welled up. Like, that's just so cool.
Yeah, he's a great person. I mean,
Really, he is.
I told him earlier today, I texted him and I said, I appreciate you promoting your episode so much. Because I always tell the guests, I'm like, it might be my show, but it's your episode. So we're willing to talk about whatever you want to talk about. Whatever's off limits is off limits. I'm not going to put you on a grill seat and ask you stuff that's going to make you completely uncomfortable.
Right.
And I told him, if people would promote their episodes when they're on this show, it would help not just me, it would help them as well to bring light to everything that they have going on in their life or that they've experienced. And maybe it can help change somebody's life or give a different perspective on things because we're all going through things, right? So
Absolutely.
Todd did a fantastic job. And he's just one of those people that you want to surround yourself with people that lift other people up and promote positivity. And even regardless of what they're going through, like I said today, I dealt with anxiety super, super bad. I was so nervous about doing the show. But I didn't want to make it obvious to Todd that I was nervous because he was already nervous a few times. He had messaged me about being on the show and I said he'll be great.
Yeah.
So not only was I trying to control my anxiety before coming on the show, which it's gone now. But I was when you have to try to put on a face for everybody else, I mean, that's the part of his story that made me tear up.
Yeah.
When you have to put on a face for everybody else in a front because they have no idea what you're actually dealing with. That is so hard to do. That's actually harder than dealing with the mental health issue that you're having. I know some people say they hate the term mental health illness. They hate the term mental health problem or issue, but at the end of the day, it's all mental health, whether it be however you want to look at it. Have a good night, Jared. But I don't know. I'm just really appreciative for myself personally of the people that have supported this idea of this podcast from day one, but also people that have agreed to be on the show and just be completely vulnerable with their life and telling us things that I personally probably would have never known some of these things about Todd at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
He is one of those people, though, I will tell you, he's like me on social media. So a lot of people will call it fake book. Okay.
Right.
Which it is. It is. I posted about that today on my personal page. We get highlights. We get highlight reels of people's life and the good things that they want to share. So then we get to a point where we start there comes a comparison game, the thief of joy, of our own joy, because we're comparing ourselves to other people's highlight reels, right?
Right.
You don't really know what they're dealing with. So Todd is a lot like me, where if you're having a bad day, you're going to probably put it out there for people just so they know they're not alone. And if you're having a good day, you're going to put it out there too. And I've been judged both ways on the spectrum. I've been judged by, oh, you think you're perfect. You have your life all together. Miss Positivity. Like nothing can go wrong.
Right.
And then I've had people like, why would she put that out there? Why would people want to know she was molested when she was little? Why would people want to know she's had lost 2 family members to suicide? Why would people want to know she was homeless? Why would people want to know she deals with anxiety and depression? Because we all go through shit in life. I'm sorry. We all do. And I'm not going to pretend to be somebody I'm not. I'm not going to put stuff out there to where then it gives me more anxiety when I run into somebody in public having to keep up the facade and and then it creates imposter syndrome. I don't want to be that way. I want to be myself on this podcast, on my social media, in person, whichever way it be.
Because I mean, what do you gain if you lie anyway? Like, you know what I mean?
You don't gain anything if you lie. If you don't gain anything if you lie. You don't. There's no gaining. Eventually, you're going to lose the game. Yeah,
Right.
you're going to lose people, or you're going to lose things, and you're going to lose perspective on what life means. You're going to lose your own identity. You're going to come to a point where you don't even know what your identity is, and you don't know what your purpose is anymore because you're too busy lying.
Yep.
So just be yourself. Be yourself. And there's Chuck Ritchie. Hi, Chuck. We'll see you next week, buddy. But yeah. So, anyways, aside from that, Chuck is going to be on the show next week. If you don't know Chuck, I'm sorry. If you know Chuck, I'm sorry. Chuck is he's fantastic. That was a dinger. Chuck's fantastic. Anyways, he's awesome. But yeah, I don't know. That was a really good show. You can follow us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, give this episode a like, please, or share it. We're on Instagram and TikTok. We have a private Facebook group page, which is exactly the podcast name. You can find us there and request to join the group. But I think tomorrow I'm going to be presenting a public figure, almost business-like podcast page on Facebook, just so it's public. And I know people have told me, they've already messaged me worrying about scammers. I'll deal with it. I've had people scam my bowling page I used to have.
Yeah.
I've had people scam my personal page. I think wherever you go, you're going to deal with scammers. So I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. And the bridges probably are already on fire. So, but we have that. And then obviously we're on all the audio podcast platforms, like Apple Music, Spotify, iTunes. What else are we on? Spreaker.
iHeartRadio.
Yeah. iHeartRadio. We're on a lot.
But in India, like we're big in India.
Yeah, but sorry for your family emergency. Hope everything's okay, Chuck. But anyways, on YouTube, I just wanted to point out we've been doing this since August, end of July, beginning of August, and we have 231 subscribers last I checked, which is way, way above what I thought I would have. But I set a goal of 500 by the 1-year anniversary of this podcast. So I'm hoping with all the changes that we're making, which we just changed our logo recently. If you see, I'm in a different pretty red dress and it looks like my hair's a lot longer now and I don't have blonde in it. So I wanted to use a current picture. So we're changing a few things around and I'm hoping the public page will gain some more viewership and followers because the page along with the podcast is all about helping other people and empowerment and people being real and sharing their stories. So if you know of anybody that has a great story that would be willing to come on the podcast, please message me personally on Facebook, or you can email us at resetandrisepodcast@gmail.com and we will get back to you on that as well. I am fully booked until the beginning of May. So unless we have a slip up of a guest not showing up, perhaps I'll have some openings, but I like to keep, because I'm type A, I can't do the last minute crap. I have to have them booked out in advance. That's just how I work. So anyways, thank you all for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Thanks again to Todd. If you get to 500 by your deadline, I will donate a free bowling ball to one of your subscribers. Ooh, I like it. I'm writing that down.
Yes. Thank you, Todd.
Rob, you better take a screenshot of that or do something because I'll forget. No, I won't. I won't forget. Yeah. I'll write it down when we're done. But thank you so much, Bowlifi. That's awesome. And that's Todd. Thanks, Todd. Okay. So anyways, we have that. But thank you all for tuning in, for hitting the subscribe or the like button. I really appreciate it. And we'll be back next week with Mr. Chuck Ritchie and chat with him a little bit. And other than that, I hope you all have a great rest of the week. And thanks for tuning in.
Take care, guys.